Too often we move through life as if it is something that happens to us, rather than something we actively shape. We wake up, respond to emails, attend meetings, check off tasks, and go to bed feeling like the day has slipped through our fingers. And in that constant cycle of reaction, we convince ourselves that life is just happening, that the circumstances define our path. But the truth is that no matter how chaotic or unpredictable the world may be, there is always a space between what happens to us and how we respond. That space, the choice, is where our power lies. It is in that space that we can decide whether to drift aimlessly or to move intentionally toward the life we truly want. Living intentionally starts with awareness. Most people never stop to notice the patterns that govern their daily decisions, the invisible scripts that dictate what they pursue and what they avoid. They live according to the expectations of society, the pressures of others, or the urgency of the moment. And while it is easy to justify this as being practical or going with the flow, the result is often a life that is reactive rather than proactive. The first step toward intentional living is to pause, observe, and ask yourself, what am I choosing, and why am I choosing it? What is truly my own, and what am I simply following because it is familiar or convenient? Once awareness begins to take root, it must be paired with clarity. Intentional living cannot exist in a fog of uncertainty. You must know what matters to you deeply, what principles you refuse to compromise, and what vision you have for your life. Without clarity, even the most deliberate actions can feel aimless. Clarity acts as a compass, guiding your decisions and helping you distinguish between distractions and opportunities. It is the lens through which every choice can be measured. Does this action move me closer to the life I want, or is it merely filling time? Intentional living also requires courage. Awareness and clarity alone are not enough if we do not act on them. Taking control of your life means stepping out of comfort zones, saying no to what does not serve your purpose, and saying yes to what challenges you. It means making decisions that might feel risky or unpopular, but align with the person you want to become. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the commitment to act despite fear. Every intentional choice involves some discomfort, because choosing your own path often goes against the gravitational pull of routine or the expectations of others. Another critical element is ownership. Living intentionally means accepting full responsibility for your life. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or luck when things go wrong. But the moment you shift from a mindset of blame to one of ownership, you reclaim your agency. Ownership means recognizing that while you cannot control everything, you can control how you respond, how you invest your energy, and how you design the environment around you. It is the acknowledgement that your life is ultimately your creation, shaped by the choices you make, not by the events that happen. Time becomes a central factor in intentional living. Every decision you make consumes time, and time is the one resource you can never get back. When we live reactively, we allow minutes, hours, and days to slip away, spent on activities that do not align with our purpose or values. But living intentionally requires treating time as sacred. It requires prioritizing what truly matters and being ruthless about eliminating what does not. The way we spend our days is a direct reflection of what we consider important, and if we do not actively choose how to use our time, someone else or something else will choose for us. Intentional living also emphasizes the power of focus. In a world overflowing with distractions, the ability to concentrate on what matters most is rare but essential. Intentional people recognize that saying yes to one thing is also saying no to countless others. Focus is not just about productivity, it is about aligning your energy, attention, and resources toward outcomes that move you closer to your vision. Every time you consciously choose where to direct your attention, you reinforce the life you want to build rather than drifting in the currents of distraction. Relationships are another dimension of intentionality. The people we surround ourselves with shape our mindset, habits, and possibilities. Living intentionally means being deliberate about the influence you allow in your life. It means seeking out relationships that inspire growth, challenge complacency, and support your purpose, while distancing yourself from those that drain energy or reinforce mediocrity. The company you keep is a reflection of the life you are choosing, and intentional living recognizes this truth as a fundamental lever for shaping your decade. Intentional living is not a one-time decision, it is a practice. It requires daily reflection, continuous evaluation, and the willingness to course correct. Even when we know what matters and take deliberate action, distractions, setbacks, and old habits will test our commitment. The key is persistence, returning to intentionality every morning, recommitting to our priorities, and refusing to let a single day pass without conscious choice. It is in these repeated acts of awareness, clarity, courage, ownership, and focus that the life we want begins to take shape. Ultimately, living intentionally transforms ordinary existence into meaningful progress. It moves life from a series of random events into a coherent narrative of purpose and impact. Every choice, no matter how small, becomes a building block for the life we envision. The path is rarely simple or easy, but in embracing intentional living, we claim our power, shape our destiny, and step into a future that is ours to design. Clarity of purpose is one of the most overlooked yet powerful forces in shaping a life that matters. Most people move through their days reacting to what is urgent rather than focusing on what is important. And this lack of clarity creates a life filled with distractions, compromises, and regrets. Without a clear sense of direction, it becomes nearly impossible to make decisions that truly serve your long-term vision. Clarity is the lens through which every choice is filtered. It allows you to distinguish between the fleeting temptations of the moment and the enduring opportunities that move you closer to your purpose. To gain clarity, you must first ask yourself the hard questions most people avoid, because the answers demand honesty and courage. What do I value most in life? What am I willing to sacrifice for? What kind of person do I want to become? And what legacy do I want to leave behind? These are not questions that can be answered casually or once and forgotten. They require reflection, introspection, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about who you are versus who you could be. Clarity begins with this courageous self-inquiry. Once you begin defining your values, you must translate them into concrete priorities. Knowing what you stand for is only the first step. Living intentionally requires aligning your daily actions with those values. Every decision, big or small, must be weighed against whether it supports your purpose or distracts from it. Without this alignment, even the most energetic and motivated efforts can feel hollow, because energy expended without purpose rarely creates lasting fulfillment. Clarity of purpose ensures that your effort and energy are invested wisely. Clarity also empowers you to say no. One of the greatest challenges in life is the constant barrage of demands, distractions, and obligations that pull us in every direction. Without clear priorities, it is easy to say yes to everything and accomplish nothing of consequence. But when your purpose is defined, saying no becomes not just possible, but natural. Every no is a reaffirmation of your commitment to what truly matters, and each no protects the space and time you need to pursue your goals with focus and intensity. Clarity of purpose fuels confidence. When you know who you are and what you stand for, decisions become easier, your path becomes more visible, and your ability to navigate uncertainty strengthens. Confidence is not arrogance or blind certainty. It is the grounded understanding that your choices are rooted in your values and long-term vision. Even when circumstances are unpredictable, this inner clarity provides a compass, allowing you to move forward without hesitation because you know the direction is right. Clarity reduces wasted energy. One of the silent drains on human potential is confusion, the constant tug of war between competing desires, obligations, and distractions. When your purpose is murky, you expend energy trying to please others, chasing irrelevant goals, or reacting impulsively to external pressures. By defining your priorities, you conserve energy for the actions that truly matter, and your focus becomes sharper. Every decision becomes an opportunity to reinforce the trajectory of your life, rather than digress from it. Clarity enhances resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges, setbacks, and failures. When you have a clear sense of purpose, obstacles are not just problems, they are tests of your commitment and opportunities for growth. Clarity gives you a reason to persist when circumstances are difficult, because the why behind your actions is larger than any temporary frustration or setback. It provides context and meaning, transforming challenges into lessons and refining your path rather than derailing it. Clarity also strengthens your relationships. When you are clear about your values and purpose, it naturally influences the people you attract and the connections you nurture. Others are drawn to clarity because it inspires trust, respect, and confidence. When your intentions and priorities are transparent, your relationships are more authentic, your communication is more effective, and the influence you have becomes more meaningful. Clarity allows you to engage with the world intentionally, instead of being pulled in directions that dilute your energy or distract from your mission. Clarity is not static. It is a living, evolving principle that requires regular reflection. As you grow, as circumstances change, and as you learn from experience, your understanding of purpose deepens. Regularly revisiting your values and priorities ensures that your actions remain aligned with your evolving vision. Without this ongoing adjustment, even those who initially find clarity may slowly drift into misalignment, allowing life to happen to them rather than shaping it with conscious intention. Clarity transforms complexity into simplicity. Life presents endless choices, and without a guiding purpose, it can feel overwhelming, confusing, and paralyzing. Purpose acts as a filter, simplifying decisions and providing a framework for action. It creates a mental map for navigating both opportunity and challenge, allowing you to focus on what matters most while letting go of what does not. With clarity of purpose, the chaos of life begins to make sense, and every action becomes a deliberate step toward a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and true to who you are. Courage is the bridge between knowing what matters and actually living it. Many people have clarity about their values, goals, and dreams, yet they remain trapped in hesitation, fear, or the comfort of the familiar. Courage is what allows us to move from thought to action, from possibility to reality. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it, to step into uncertainty, and to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. Without courage, clarity, and intention remain dormant ideas, never translated into meaningful outcomes. True courage begins with self-awareness. To act boldly, you must first understand what fears are holding you back. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss, fear of the unknown, these are universal, yet they only gain power when unacknowledged. By naming these fears, examining their origin, and recognizing their limits, you reclaim the power they otherwise exert over your life. Courage does not mean pretending that fear does not exist. It means choosing to act with fear as a companion rather than a barrier. Courage is amplified when tied to purpose. When you act from a clear why, fear diminishes because your commitment to what matters outweighs your apprehension about what might go wrong. Purpose gives courage direction and strength. It provides a reason to endure uncertainty, take risks, and face potential setbacks. Without purpose, courage can feel reckless, unfocused, or unsustainable. With purpose, it becomes a disciplined, deliberate force that propels you forward even when the path is unclear. Courage, requires embracing vulnerability. Many people equate courage with toughness or invulnerability, but true courage is rooted in openness, the willingness to be honest about who you are, what you need, and where you are struggling. It is the readiness to put yourself out there, knowing there is a possibility of criticism, rejection, or failure. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the soil from which genuine connection, creativity, and growth emerge, and courage allows us to step into it fully. Courage often demands difficult choices. It is the voice that says no to comfort, convenience, and safety when they conflict with what is meaningful. It is the willingness to prioritize long-term impact over short-term ease. Making these choices can be lonely, uncomfortable, or unpopular, yet courage sustains the conviction that the path of integrity, purpose, and growth is worth the temporary discomfort. Every courageous choice reinforces the identity and life you aspire to cultivate. Courage grows through action. It is not a trait that magically appears one day. It is built through repeated steps outside your comfort zone. Every time you take action despite fear, you reinforce the neural pathways of bravery, expanding the boundaries of what you consider possible. Courage compounds, just like effort or discipline. The more you act with it, the more natural it becomes to face challenges, speak truths, and pursue opportunities that would have once seemed impossible. Courage requires resilience. Action often leads to setbacks, criticism, or failure, and the absence of immediate success can be discouraging. But courage is measured not by the absence of difficulty, but by the willingness to continue despite it. Every obstacle encountered on a courageous path is an opportunity to refine your approach, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your understanding of what you are capable of. It is through persistent action, not avoidance, that courage proves itself. Courage is contagious. When you act boldly, others take notice. Your willingness to embrace risk, uncertainty, and honesty inspires those around you to confront their own fears and limitations. Courage creates ripples that extend far beyond your personal achievements. It influences your team, your community, and even the culture around you. Acting with courage not only transforms your life, but it elevates the potential of everyone who witnesses it. Courage is not always dramatic or loud. It often shows up in small, consistent acts. It is choosing honesty over convenience, action over procrastination, and integrity over compromise. It is the decision to show up fully day after day, even when the path is unclear or the outcome uncertain. These seemingly small acts accumulate over time, creating a life defined not by absence of fear, but by mastery of it. Courage allows you to embrace change and uncertainty with confidence. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned, and the willingness to step into the unknown separates those who remain stuck from those who thrive. Every courageous choice expands your capacity to navigate the unpredictable, take risks, and seize opportunities that others avoid. It transforms fear into a compass rather than a cage, and uncertainty into a field of potential rather than a barrier. Consistency is the quiet force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. While moments of brilliance can inspire, it is the steady, repeated effort over time that creates lasting impact. Many people underestimate the compounding power of small actions taken consistently, believing that success requires grand gestures or sudden breakthroughs. But true transformation happens when effort is aligned with intention and maintained day after day, regardless of immediate results. Consistency is the bridge between what you want and what you eventually attain. Consistency begins with commitment. It requires a decision to show up, even when you do not feel like it, even when the initial excitement fades, and even when results seem distant. Commitment is the backbone of consistency because it keeps you anchored when distractions, fatigue, or doubt attempt to derail your progress. Without a foundational commitment to your goals, actions become sporadic, and momentum is lost before meaningful growth can occur. Habits are the engine of consistency. Our daily behaviors, repeated over time, form the structure of our lives. When habits align with purpose, they create automatic progress toward our goals. The challenge is identifying which habits are productive and intentionally cultivating them, while simultaneously eliminating those that sabotage your potential. Consistency is not merely doing more, it is doing what matters most repeatedly until it becomes ingrained in who you are. Consistency also requires patience. The results of deliberate effort are rarely immediate, and many people abandon their pursuits too early, mistaking the lack of instant reward for failure. True consistency understands that meaningful outcomes take time to manifest and that every action, no matter how small, contributes to a larger trajectory. Patience is the willingness to keep going, even when the visible impact is not yet apparent. It is the understanding that growth is a long game, and that endurance is a form of quiet genius. Accountability strengthens consistency. By holding yourself responsible for your actions and outcomes, you reinforce the discipline required to maintain momentum. External accountability through mentors, colleagues, or supportive communities adds additional structure, but internal accountability is the most powerful force. It is the voice inside that reminds you why you started, that nudges you to stay aligned with your purpose, and that resists the temptation to abandon what matters when challenges arise. Consistency is closely tied to focus. Multitasking, distractions, and scattered priorities undermine the ability to produce meaningful results over time. Maintaining a clear focus allows your energy, attention, and actions to compound rather than dissipate. When you consistently direct effort toward your highest priorities, progress accumulates in ways that feel almost invisible until one day the results are undeniable. Focus and consistency work hand in hand, creating leverage that accelerates growth and achievement. Consistency builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. The act of maintaining steady effort in the face of adversity strengthens mental toughness, discipline, and adaptability. Those who practice consistency are less likely to be derailed by obstacles because their progress is rooted in daily effort, rather than fragile bursts of inspiration. Each day of persistence becomes a training ground for endurance, preparing you to navigate challenges without losing momentum or purpose. Consistency multiplies confidence. Each small action completed, each day of disciplined effort, reinforces the belief that you are capable of following through on your commitments. Over time, this accumulated confidence becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The more consistent you are, the more trust you build in yourself, and the more likely you are to tackle increasingly ambitious goals. Confidence and consistency are intertwined, each strengthening the other, creating a foundation for sustained growth. Consistency also fosters credibility and trust with others. When people see that you show up reliably, follow through on promises, and maintain your standards over time, you build influence and respect. This consistency in action extends beyond personal achievement. It affects your relationships, leadership, and reputation. People are drawn to those who demonstrate steady effort and reliability because it signals integrity, dependability, and a capacity to produce results. Finally, consistency transforms effort into legacy. The work you do today, repeated over months and years, accumulates into impact far greater than any single act could produce. It is the daily dedication, the persistence in small but meaningful actions that shapes long-term success, mastery, and fulfillment. By committing to consistency, you harness the compounding power of effort, turning ordinary choices into extraordinary outcomes, and ensuring that your actions today resonate into the future. Reflection is the mirror that allows you to see yourself clearly, to measure your progress and to align your actions with your intentions. Without reflection, even the most disciplined effort can become misdirected, and the decisions you make may drift away from your true purpose. Life moves quickly, and it is easy to become swept up in activity without pausing to assess whether those activities are meaningful, effective, or aligned with your long-term goals. Reflection creates the space to step back, observe, and course-correct before small misalignments grow into significant detours. Reflection begins with honesty. To truly assess your life, you must be willing to confront the uncomfortable truths about where you are versus where you want to be. This requires examining not only external outcomes, but also internal motivations, attitudes, and habits. Are your actions driven by fear, convenience, or external pressure, or are they aligned with your values and purpose? Honest reflection does not shy away from these questions. It engages them fully, knowing that clarity comes from truth, not avoidance. Reflection also demands regularity. Occasional moments of introspection are helpful, but they are insufficient for meaningful alignment. Establishing a consistent rhythm daily, weekly, or monthly ensures that reflection becomes a habit rather than a sporadic exercise. The act of regularly stepping back to evaluate your choices, behaviors, and progress builds awareness and allows you to catch small deviations before they escalate. Over time, this consistent reflection sharpens judgment and reinforces intentional living. The power of reflection lies in learning. Every experience, success, and failure carries lessons if you take the time to analyze them. Reflection transforms mistakes from setbacks into growth opportunities and successes from fleeting satisfaction into replicable strategies. By asking questions such as what worked, what didn't, what can I do differently next time, you extract wisdom from experience and convert it into actionable insight. Without reflection, experience remains raw, and its potential to guide you is lost. Reflection strengthens decision-making. When you pause to consider past choices, patterns emerge, and clarity about the future becomes possible. You begin to understand which strategies, behaviors, or relationships support your goals and which hinder them. This self-awareness allows you to make decisions proactively rather than reactively. Reflection provides the perspective to evaluate options thoughtfully, anticipate consequences, and select actions that are aligned with long-term purpose rather than short-term convenience. Reflection cultivates emotional intelligence. By observing your own responses, reactions, and feelings, you develop a deeper understanding of yourself and others. This awareness enhances empathy, improves communication, and strengthens relationships. When you can recognize patterns in your emotional responses, you gain control over impulses and reactions that might otherwise derail your progress. Reflection provides the insight to navigate both internal and external challenges with wisdom, patience, and composure. Reflection encourages accountability. When you take the time to honestly assess your actions, you are forced to acknowledge where you have fallen short and where you have succeeded. This accountability is not punitive, it is empowering. It allows you to own your outcomes, learn from them, and adjust your approach moving forward. By reflecting on both triumphs and failures, you cultivate responsibility for your life, recognizing that progress is a product of your choices rather than mere circumstance. Reflection nurtures growth and adaptation. Life is dynamic, and circumstances, goals, and priorities evolve over time. What worked yesterday may not work today, and what seems important now may shift in the future. Regular reflection allows you to remain flexible, adapt to change, and continuously refine your strategies and behaviors. It ensures that your actions remain relevant and aligned with your evolving vision, rather than rigidly adhering to outdated assumptions or habits. Reflection fosters gratitude and perspective. Pausing to evaluate your journey helps you recognize progress that might otherwise go unnoticed. Celebrating small victories, appreciating lessons learned, and acknowledging resilience strengthens motivation and reinforces a positive mindset. Reflection allows you to see the broader context of your experiences, recognizing both achievements and growth even in moments of challenge. This perspective fuels resilience, optimism, and clarity about the path forward. Finally, reflection integrates intention with action. Awareness without application is incomplete. Reflection is most powerful when it leads to conscious adjustments and informed choices. It creates a feedback loop where thought informs action, and action informs thought. By embedding reflection into your daily life, you ensure that every step, decision, and effort contributes to your overarching goals, aligns with your values, and shapes the trajectory of your life in a deliberate and meaningful way. Immediate action is the catalyst that transforms intention into reality. Many people have clarity, courage, consistency, and reflection, yet they delay the moment of execution, waiting for the perfect conditions, more information, or a surge of motivation that may never come. Procrastination is often disguised as preparation, planning, or prudence, but in truth, it is the enemy of progress. Every day spent waiting is a day lost, and every decision postponed is an opportunity deferred. Action is the bridge between your vision and your future. Action begins with commitment. Deciding to act creates momentum, which is impossible to generate through thought alone. Commitment is the internal agreement that you will move forward regardless of obstacles, fear, or uncertainty. It is the declaration that your goals are more important than your hesitation, and it provides the energy and focus necessary to convert ideas into tangible outcomes. Without commitment, even the most brilliant strategies remain inert. Immediate action requires overcoming fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown are powerful inhibitors that keep many people immobilized. Action does not eliminate fear, but it allows you to step forward despite it. Every step taken against fear weakens its grip, builds confidence, and reinforces the understanding that discomfort is a sign of progress rather than a warning to retreat. Courage alone is not enough without the deliberate act of moving forward. Action thrives in clarity, knowing exactly what needs to be done, why it matters, and how it aligns with your purpose removes hesitation and prevents wasted effort. Clarity reduces ambiguity and provides a roadmap for execution, allowing you to act decisively rather than stumble through uncertainty. When your actions are grounded in purpose and strategy, they carry far greater impact and accelerate progress toward your goals. Small actions compound over time. Immediate action does not always mean grand gestures or monumental leaps. It often begins with simple, deliberate steps taken consistently. These small actions, repeated daily, accumulate into significant progress. While a single effort may feel insignificant in isolation, the cumulative effect of consistent, intentional action is transformative. The key is to begin now, because momentum cannot be retroactive. It can only be generated through movement in the present. Action builds learning and adaptability. Theoretical knowledge and careful planning are valuable, but they remain incomplete without execution. Action exposes ideas to reality, reveals gaps in understanding, and provides immediate feedback. By acting, you learn faster, adjust sooner, and iterate more effectively. Waiting for perfect conditions may delay learning indefinitely, but immediate action accelerates growth and enhances your capacity to navigate challenges with skill and resilience. Action reinforces confidence. Each step forward, no matter how small, demonstrates your ability to influence outcomes and navigate challenges. Confidence is built through evidence proof that your efforts produce results. In contrast, inaction fosters doubt, undermines belief in your capabilities, and reinforces fear. Taking immediate action generates a feedback loop in which success breeds confidence, and confidence fuels further action. Action requires prioritization. Not every task or opportunity is equally important, and immediate action must be directed toward what matters most. Discerning which actions will create the greatest impact and executing them decisively ensures that energy is not wasted on trivial pursuits. Focused action magnifies results and ensures that your momentum is aligned with your long-term vision rather than dissipated on distractions. Action inspires others. When you move decisively toward your goals, you create energy, momentum, and influence that extend beyond yourself. Observers are inspired by those who act with purpose, courage, and determination, and your example can motivate others to take their own steps forward. Action generates a ripple effect, amplifying impact and creating opportunities that would remain dormant if you waited passively for the right time. Finally, action closes the gap between dreaming and achieving. Every goal, every vision, and every aspiration exists first in thought, then in planning, and finally in execution. Immediate action transforms potential into reality, turning ideas into outcomes, intention into accomplishment, and aspiration into lived experience. Action is the engine that propels your next 10 years, and it is the choice to act today that determines whether your vision remains a dream or becomes your reality.